Welcome into another episode of the Inside Mariemont Warriors Athletics podcast here on ESP Media, powered by Sidearm Sports and MariemontSports.com. My name is Jason Griefer. Tom Nerl's back with us once again to talk all things Mariemont athletics here as the fall season is starting to wind down. Tom, let's get right into it here. Let's start with your volleyball team. It's kind of an up and down year, as we've talked about. You've had a very young program on the season. It's kind of had to learn on the fly. They finished the year just under 500, and now we turn the focus to the postseason, and that'll come a little bit later on this week on the 21st in an opening round matchup against Batavia. Of course, it's going to be the second time you've seen them in the last month. Took them on back on October 2nd. However, Batavia won that match in straight sets, but second time around, who knows what can happen. We've talked, as I said, in the past about the youth of this team and kind of having to learn on the fly and kind of a trial by fire, if you will, to see what you have as far as your team goes. So I'm wondering, with that and knowing that we're going to play Batavia for a second time here with the opportunity to get to a sectional final, how important that would be for the development of the team that you have now and their development long-term if they were able to beat Batavia this time and get to a sectional final.
Yeah, I think it would be huge. As we talked with young teams, not only do they have to learn how to win, they have to learn how to compete and then compete consistently. And so, they've gotten it right. They've gotten to 500 this year. They went to 10-10 and then lost the very competitive match with Taylor, even though in 3 games. And so we've competed with Batavia earlier. They were exciting contests. And I think what you see, even in our losses, even in our 3-match losses, that we're taking teams 25-20, 25-21. So we're competing. We're right there on the doorstep with 2 seniors on this team. If we can steal a sectional game and make it to the sectional finals, I think it would be huge. The progress of the program is still good, and like you said, we are very young, and we'll return a huge core next year to this team. But one step at a time. We'd like to send our seniors off on the right note, and we'd like to get a sectional win here Thursday night at Princeton.
Going to be a tough one for sure, but again, maybe some familiarity, thinking back to that last matchup, could pay off for them. And as you said, all it takes is that win to get to a sectional final a few days after that, and you're right where you need to be moving forward. Let's move forward here on the program. Let's talk about your tennis team, a really stellar season, as we've documented here on the show. A 15-win season. You had 8 players named to one of the all CHL teams, so really strong depth that you have. You're going to have 5 of those players coming back next year, so 3 of them will graduate. So I'm curious, with that, thinking what you have going forward, knowing you're going to lose some talented players but also return a good number back, how would you evaluate where this program stands after such a stellar year?
I think they're in great shape. I think we were mentioning the same thing last year, that we were not graduating a lot of seniors. I think we lost 1 off of the varsity team last year, and so to bring that core back, and we have there's probably another 4 girls that had varsity experience last year that didn't see any varsity time this year. So just to have that core 5 back, and then to add the other pieces, and to have these juniors become seniors and the freshmen become a sophomore. Yeah, it's really looking good. And hopefully next year we get beyond the districts, and maybe we can take the trip to state, having Lucy and Caroline and Kate and Ella make it to the districts this year. We like to bring the whole team back like we did last year. Very good future for this team.
How do you feel about their development going into the offseason and in the next year, to the point where you feel like they can potentially take that step, knowing that core is back?
They work hard. If you go by the Mariemont courts, the tennis park courts in the summertime, they're out there, they're hitting, they're getting their instructions. I think they can make that step. You've got Indian Hill in our conference, not only in our conference, but our bracket, along with Country Day. So you have to get past them, and that's going to be the challenge. But to get to get up, maybe you steal one, maybe get in a different bracket. But across the season, we've seen these 18, 19, 21 seasons out tennis for the last 3 years now. Coach Spring does a tremendous job with these girls during the season, and his coaching staff does a great job with them throughout the years. So we really think they're on the verge of something big, or continuing something big, because they've already produced for a couple of years.
Yeah, good role they've been on the last few years,
Yeah.
for sure. One other bit of information that's come out recently and finally coming to fruition. I know we've talked about it here in the podcast in the past. Is the fact that we're actually to the point now we're actually going to have a full girls golf team
Yeah.
going forward. That's a big deal. In the last few years, we've just had a couple of golfers. You've had to pair up with some other local schools to try and get them some experience out there and on the course. But now finally being able together to go full fledged with a Mariemont girls golf team. Take us through the process here, how this all came to be to this point, and what made you finally decide now's the right time to pull the trigger. And going into next year, we're going to have a full-fledged girls golf team.
Yeah, we've had a junior high team last year and this year. We've had a junior high team for a number of years, and not a whole lot of girls would come out for golf. And Lainey Hurt came up through that program. Janie Neville came up through that, and they would compete with the boys in the junior high, but only having one or two girls. Lainey, hitting well in the CHL this year in the districts, and last year in the CHL as well. And so one of the moms, Coach Solar, took the team last year, took them again this year, knowing that we had a core of 5 girls that were going to play, that they're all going to come up together. And so the discussion on this actually started last year. Would we have enough when they get to high school? So yeah, we think we're going to have at least 7 girls playing varsity golf next year. Really excited with Coach Meredith that we're bringing in for this program, or with this program. And then just to give Lainey and Janie some support as they go out, that we can schedule their own matches. Working with Madera the last couple of years, and Coach Kaufman up there has been tremendous to work with, and a really great influence for Lainey and Janie this year. So we really appreciate the support that we've gotten from Madera and other league schools, but we're really excited to get this going again. It's been a number of years, not because of want, but just because of numbers that we've had girls golf program. So we're really excited to bring that back and let the girls compete for a CHL title.
We'll be glad to keep track of that going forward into the future and see how that comes to pass when next season gets going. Over on the boys' side, they've continued a really strong run over the last number of years. They just finished out a 6th straight year with double-digit wins in match play. So we continue to build there and continue to keep that kind of benchmark there. And you're going to have several key pieces coming back next year, but still some pieces to replace as well. What's that process like for a coaching staff when you're trying to build up a roster going into next year so that you have a full flight of players available, while also working with the players that you have so that you can elevate their games so that you can rise up and compete with the trio of Indian Hill, Wyoming, and Madera?
Yeah, having only losing 2 seniors going into next year, Tom Buchert and Will Glassmeyer. But we've got as you said, we have a really good core coming up. Tom and Will, they were those young golfers in previous years when we had a pretty good group coming up. And Indian Hill and Madera just absolutely caught fire, and made a run to the state tournament as well. So good for them. But we've got some guys coming up there just shooting lights out. And Drew Sykert down the stretch here with outstanding scores. We've got a good young group coming up. So we're really excited about what's coming up. And, golf and tennis are pretty straightforward. So swimming and cross country. It's all a number. If you can beat that number, if you can beat that guy with that number or whatever, then you're that person. And same way with cross country. If you can beat that speed, you're in. So it'll be really good to see the boys get a lot of work in, and the girls over the summer, get those scores down. Again, with a number of them, it's just consistency. We can't shoot a 73 one day, then go out and rack up an 87 the next day. So the good thing about young golfers is they become experienced golfers, and they learn to get consistent. And also the mindset of golfing. Golfing is such a belittling sport, humbling sport, I guess you'd say. One day you can knock it lights out and drive it right down the middle, and the next day you're hunting for mushrooms along with your balls in the woods. So these guys are going to get experience. They're going to play a number of tournaments over the summer. So we're really excited about what we have coming back with golf.
You mentioned that Tom Buchert and Will Glassmeyer's times are coming to an end at Mariemont here, and also talked about the fact that they were once young golfers having to come up through the program, and they've really been a steadying force for your program over the last number of years there. As their time is winding down at Mariemont, How do you reflect on their careers and their development from those young guys into the guys that are leaving the program in as good of a place, if not better, than they left it?
I think one thing you see with the golf program is the senior golfers throughout the last couple of years have done a great job taking the younger golfers under their wings and showing them the ways to helping them become better. And I think that's the perfect sign of a good leader, is that they leave leadership when they leave, that other people can pick it up. And Tom and Will have definitely had some tough patches during the season, but working with those younger golfers as well. Sometimes when a young golfer comes up, it's easy to resent their quick success. But this group has been really good at working together and supporting each other. So, thanks to those two for their leadership, and definitely good luck to them in the future.
Absolutely. And as I said, leaving the program in a better spot than they came in. That's what you always can hope for in a situation. Those two certainly did that. Let's switch gears. Let's talk about your cross country teams. They were just in the CHL championships over the weekend. Very strong performances. The girls finished third overall. The boys wind up taking the title. Of course, Sam Beeler just can't seem to stop winning things. He won the league meet again. He won it by 18 seconds over his teammate Bennett Turan. And this was a dominating team performance on the boys' side for sure. He had 7 of the top 12 runners in that race there. So a really strong statements there. Of course, Sam was named the CHL Runner of the Year. Natalie Dragovich named the CHL Coach of the Year. So they continue their role, the boys do. And also the girls, a very fine performance as well. I know we've talked here earlier in this fall season about your belief that one or both of your cross-country teams can contend for state championships. Is it now just full steam ahead, and we should be able to get all the way to state and seriously be a threat?
Well, again, we get into the mental side of what happens in races, and these guys know, these runners know what they can run now. Sam has been in first place a number of races now, and he's got the rest of the pack with him to go into a league meet and to finish 1, 2, 4, 9, 10, 11, and 12. You're going to build up some distance, but they're starting to taper now. They're starting to, they know their training. They've been here before. They went to state last year, so they know the tracks that we're going to run on now. They're going to be at Voice of America this week, starting at 12:30 on Saturday. They're going to get to Troy after that, and then we're going to run at Fortress of Bits again in the state championship. So, not putting the cart ahead of the horse, but these guys know what it takes to get there. They've been there before. Coach Dragovich has that experienced hand with them. And they really enjoy each other. I mean, you watch them run out of the driveway here every day when they train. Just a really good camaraderie amongst that group. And like you said, with the girls too, with Grace finishing second, Caroline Buck coming up and really posting some great times for her, and Jess behind them. Girls got a chance to make some noise, so maybe we can get the girls team up to the Fortress as well for the championships. But just a great time of the year. Really, really good to see them running as they did on Saturday, and really looking forward to see what they have in the next couple of weeks. I think it's going to be a really exciting time for the cross country runners.
How would you evaluate the career that Sam Beeler has had at Mariemont? Obviously, given all the experience he's had, and now this year he just seems to turn it up another notch. As you said, with all the first place finishes he's had all year long, he still has the best time in his run in the CHL by 7 seconds over the next runner. So he seems like he is in a prime spot to bring home a state title individually, if not carry the team to a state title. What's it been like just for you to see Sam develop into an elite level runner during his time at Mariemont?
Yeah, it's been fun. If you remember last year, we were back and forth with some 1s and 2s, and then towards the end of the season, he really got hot and was leading the pack for us. And then this year, just running well all year and being a big part of the team as we come down the stretch here. So it's really satisfying to see our athletes do that. And it's really exciting to see, as you said, maybe we're going to grab a state champion runner out of this group. So, the way they run, the way they train, at times they're due to break down. Runners just break down. Ankles get sore. You get stone bruises on your heels or whatever. And he's, knock on wood, he stayed really healthy. So just 3 more weeks, Sam. stay healthy. Let's get there along with the rest of the team as well, because they run really well as a pack. So maybe he can bring home some individual, and then maybe we'll bring home the big trophy with the boys team.
It seems like they're at least in prime position, as we've always talked about, peaking at the right time. And it seems like the entire team, both the boys and the girls, are at that juncture as they head into the postseason. Let's switch gears now and let's talk about the soccer teams. And we'll start with the girls first, as they have won the CHL for the second straight year, thanks to that big 1-0 win over Taylor last Wednesday. Really helped seal the deal here. So now we move into the postseason. They're going to be a 3 seed in the South, and they're going to get a first round bye to take on the winner of Georgetown and Blanchester coming up a little bit later on this week here. So we take care of business in the CHL for the second straight year. That's good. Now we focus on trying to make a deep postseason run. How did you feel about the overall draw when it came out? And since that's developed, your team's play in conjunction with their hopes of making a run of at least to the districts, if not getting out of the districts and into the regional?
Yeah, I think the draw, I think we pretty much got what we expected. We've been pretty hot here down the stretch. You look at some of our non-league games, against Taylor or Lehman or someone else. And there's Saturday games when we're resting some people, and you got a little banged up on those. I don't know if those losses knocked us down to third. The 2 teams that are ahead of us beat us during the regular season, Madera and Country Day. So third's a good spot for it. We're going to have to meet one of them again if we want to go back to regionals or go further to state. So it was a good draw. We took the bye. We have Georgetown, Blanchester coming up on Thursday here at home. So it's always good to have the home match. We'll be on a familiar field next week as we get into the district semis and those games. So we're a little banged up, and like everyone is this time of the year. But we've also been playing good soccer. Taylor came in here with a really good team with some really high hopes to take the league with a win. We get out here with the 1-0 wins, just great ball control, another great game by Erica Dewey in the goal, just to preserve that win. So, and then to win it 3-0 on Saturday against Reading. So very happy for this group of girls. Again, a good core coming through, a good batch of seniors that we're going to be saying goodbye to at the end of the season, but a very strong junior class coming up. So, we'd like to see them get back to regionals and maybe get some magic there and see if we can get this team to state.
Of course, over on the boys' side now, it begins the defense of the state championship from a year ago. Really good way to finish the regular season after dropping a couple to Wyoming and Oakwood. You bounce back with big wins over Batavia, over Taylor, and over Reading by combined scores of 23-1 over the last 3. So really coming in strong here as we begin the defense of the state title. You're going to be a 3 seed in the South bracket number 1. And you're going to get Purcell Marion in the opener. Of course, we look at the bracket and we cannot help but project what we could end up seeing forward. You could end up seeing Cincinnati Country Day in a sectional final. Of course, played him earlier in the year. Country Day won the matchup 3-2. So I'm wondering with that, if you would like to see Country Day in that sectional final to try and get some revenge. And also, I'm wondering your thoughts on the growth of this program, because as we talked at the beginning of the season, you lost a lot from last year's state championship team and we're asking a lot of young guys to step in and sort of carry the mantle this season. And of course, they've hit a couple of bumps in the road. That's no real big surprise given how young they are this year, but still 11-4-1. Given how much you've lost, I'm wondering how much you've seen this team grow as the year has gone on.
I think we've seen them grow a lot. And, the beginning of the schedule, they have 5 games in less than a week and a half. And we just really front load that schedule. And they're big schools. They're Country Day, they're Seven Hills, they're Ross. Just some really bangers in there that are just hard to get through. And so, we came through that stretch a little beat up, but as you said, we get past Purcell Marion. We're going to face Seven Hills, who always plays us a little bit more difficult, and then Country Day. We're a different team than played Country Day that second weekend of the season. I don't think it's a matter of revenge. You never get ahead of people when you're always trying to get even with them. So you want to get that win, and you want to move on for your team's sake. But we're a different team. We've had some guys who have found out what their roles are now. We've had some other players step up to their roles. instead of just being a one horse show for a while. Max Miller's getting some support on defense now. We're definitely a different team. Are we good enough to get back to where we were last year? And we're going to take that one game at a time. But we have definitely improved over the course of the season. I think we've seen that in our non-league games as well. So we're excited. We're excited for the second season to start, and we're going to start tomorrow night with Purcell Marion.
What do you make of the spot that your team is in right now? And obviously coming off a state championship, going into the year, obviously all the attention's on you and everybody kind of has that bullseye on your team. You know, a couple of losses here and there, as you said, early in the year, and then a couple to end September and into October. Do you feel like your team maybe now is at a point where they are flying under the radar a little bit, given that they are a couple of notches down from where they were a year ago, and they can come up and catch some people by surprise and go on another deep run?
I thought we were. Then the Enquirer came out with the tournament preview today and kind of highlighted all the success that the league has in it, between Madera on the fantastic run that they're on right now, and Wyoming's team and ours and everyone else. I mean, boys and girls, the top soccer runs through the CHL, and so many ranked teams and so many good programs. But it's tournament time. Everyone has a target on their back. So until someone else wins a state title, we're still state champions. And I think the younger players have realized there's work to be done. You just don't step up and step into someone else's role and be a state champion. And I know the coaches are working them well. They've been here, and you look at the soccer team, and you have a number of athletes on the soccer team that's also on the cross country team. Henry Buck, Ben Fonstock, Martin Eisenhower. I mean, you get guys that do both, and so they carry each other. As we said last year, a rising tide raises all ships. So they're going to carry each other, and let's see how far we can take it.
And as you said, still state champs until somebody else comes and takes it from you. So gotta play it out to see what happens there. Let's move on. And as we normally do here on the fall season, we finish things up talking about your football team. We'll get to them here in just a moment. But before the game this past Friday against Reading, had a very nice ceremony at Kuzel Stadium. Had a chance to honor your lacrosse state champions from a season ago, and they got their rings. Finally got to put some hardware on the hands there to celebrate a state championship here. First, just take us through that and how that all came together, and the reactions from the players once they received the hardware.
It's a great weekend, and unfortunately, it's a holiday weekend as well, or I should say, fall holiday weekend for a lot of the colleges. So we were missing some of our graduates, our seniors from last year with the Knights. But just a great night. Had our boys and girls teams there together. Again, one of the only programs in the state to win state titles on the same day. Because so many of the tournaments are held on different days and different sites and different weeks. So just to have them back, to give them their championship plaques and their championship rings, and then also to honor one of the coaches that we've lost along the way, Coach Graham Harden, having his name engraved on the bottom of the ring was a touch as well, that we're happy to do. But just a great night to kick things off. If you recall last week, the weathermen were calling for the end of the earth up until about 6 o'clock on Friday, and now the rains came through. Maybe they should have with the result that we had in the game. Just a great night for our community, for people to come back, for our grads to come back, for our teams to get together one more time and share that night, as you said, before the football game with Reading.
Well, and then we get to the football game, and really the last couple of weeks have not gone your team's way. The loss to Wyoming a couple of weeks ago, and then this past Friday losing to Reading at home 35-14. There's no shame that both those teams are very, very strong programs. So, but nevertheless, you look at the way things shake out here now. You've lost 2 in a row, and only scored 23 points in the process, and now you're going to go to Taylor this coming Friday to finish the regular season. They are a very strong team, particularly defensively coming in. They've won a couple in a row here. And so I'm wondering at that point, obviously we also sort of have an eye forward to the playoffs, and you're trying to get yourself in the best possible position for seeding in order to get yourself the most favorable matchup here. So I'm wondering what is going to be the biggest key going into this game against Taylor to try to not have a 3-game losing streak going into the playoffs, and thus a likely much more difficult road to try and make another deep run as you did a year ago?
Yeah, like a number of programs, I know our coaches are always emphasizing going 1-0 for that week. We can't replay the last 2 weeks, and we can't play the tournament until it gets here. So we want to go 1-0 this week. As you said, Taylor is big. They are strong and they have attitude, but we're pretty big ourselves, and our offense is figuring things out after losing the starting quarterback right before the Wyoming game. We're moving the ball. We just got to cover our coverages, and we got to do what we're supposed to do with our assignments on both sides of the ball. And if we can do that, we're going to be fine. This is one of our bigger lines that we've had in a number of years, but we want to get some momentum going into the tournament. A great opportunity, the last 2 weeks, maybe move up and secure 2 home playoff games in the last 2 weeks. We didn't take advantage of that. A win this week, and we will secure at least 1 home playoff game. And there's nothing more fun than having a home playoff game. But we just we're still the same team. We've lost a few key components and on both sides of the ball. So we're just looking back to getting 1-0 this week, and then seeing where the matchups are for the tournament. So, you got Madera in the mix, you've got Reading in the mix, Mariemont in the mix. I think Finneytown's creeping back up with a possible playoff berth. So 4 CHL teams in the mix for that, and we're not even talking about Indian Hill and Wyoming, who's a division higher. So again, the league representing itself very well. Reading had a great game plan on Friday night, came in and executed it, and we just never caught up. We're down 14-7, 21-7. We just never got caught up, and then at the end just ran out. So looking for a big week at Taylor this week. It's that time of year where we go out and it's dark when you get on the bus and it's dark when you get there. But finally some good football weather for us this weekend. So looking to go back and 1-0 and get a W at Taylor this week.
And it would be a big boost going into the playoffs, and hopefully secure yourselves a better matchup, at least in the first round. As you said, get a home playoff game in the first round, and who knows, maybe you catch a couple upsets down the road as you did last year and make a trip all the way to a regional final once again. That's for a little while down the road. I got to take care of business this coming week. And with that said, our time is up here on this episode today. Tom, certainly appreciate the time. A lot of great stuff. Continuing once again, just keep continuing to build, and obviously still a lot of big opportunities moving forward, though. We appreciate your time. Thank you, Jason. Appreciate all your work you guys are doing for us as well. Absolutely. That is Mariemont Athletic Director Tom Nerl joining us once again for the Inside Mariemont Warriors Athletics podcast here on ESPN Media, powered by Sidearm Sports.